Welcome to the Rap Soul Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of music that moves our hearts and gets our feet tapping. This is the intersection of rap and soul music from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. We appreciate you for listening. Share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. The podcast is hosted by 12 Kyle. Next up, the Rap Soul Podcast.
This box comes in the mail and I see the box and it's got my name on it. I'm like, well, why would somebody send me something here? And because it didn't have BMG music on it and it had some other name or something like that. And so I go to open the box, and inside the box, there's a smaller box. And inside that, but before you got to the inside of that box, there was a label that said BMG music. And then it hit me. Oh my God, they really sent me 13 CDs. Welcome to another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. Again, this is the Rap Soul Podcast. This is the intersection where we have discussions about hip hop, rap, soul, and R&B music from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Simply put, folks, this is the best music podcast that you have never heard until right now. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to those of you who are watching on YouTube as well as Spotify. Man, check this out. Okay, before I even get started, let me bring you in on a little secret. If you're not watching on YouTube and Spotify, you may hear something in the background. And that is because I'm actually recording this episode outside. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, where I live, and today is about 69 degrees, slight breeze, but I'm outside recording at the crib, and it's such a nice day. I would rather be outside. So, quite honestly, it's very loud in my house right now. So I took the liberty of, every now and then I'd say, I like to do things outside and I love to record outside when I can. I don't do it often, maybe once or twice a year. But for the Rap Soul Podcast, this is the first episode that I will record outside. So if you hear a car going by or you hear birds chirping, it's because I'm outside, right? And I'm about to test Riverside and these microphones to see how well it picks up this information or this noise, if you will. And it might not pick it up at all. Who knows? And as I say that, a large Amazon vehicle drives by. Nonetheless, you see the title, the BMG Experience. Now, for some, depending on how old you are, you may or may not be familiar with the BMG Experience. And what I mean by that is BMG was a music service back in the day in the 90s that I came across very randomly. And the reason being is because I did not know that BMG was a service that would ultimately send out these mailers. And what was interesting about the mailers is they would come in like a little small, I can't even say envelope, more like a postcard. And it would say like, you can get 13 CDs for 1 cent. And all you have to do is sign up. And so as a young person, again, this is the 90s. I'm in college at the time, right? And I don't have money to buy CDs. I got enough money to buy maybe 1 CD. CD burners weren't out. So if you were using cassette tapes, then you could, get someone to dub your tape, and that's how you would get your music, or you had to go buy it, right? But by this time, by 94, I had moved from cassette tapes fully to CDs. And so I remember distinctly one day getting a flyer in the mail that offered me the opportunity to get a set of CDs, 13 CDs for 1 penny. And upon looking at it, I thought it was a scam. And keep in mind, folks, there is no internet, so there's no way for me to look this up. But I grew up in an era in the 80s where they had Publishers Clearinghouse, sweepstakes, And that's where these people would randomly just get a check in the mail for $1 million. Well, that stuff never happened to anybody that I knew. So I kind of chalked it up as something that wasn't real. And I think for most people, it wasn't real until you saw somebody or knew somebody that it happened to. Nonetheless, that was basically BMG's goal, I guess, was to get you to sign up. They'd send you 13 CDs, and you'd only have to pay 1 cent, and then you sign up basically for a subscription. And I think it would be like $10 a month or something like that. Once you signed up for the CDs. But the way that I understood it to be would be I would fill out the card and send it back. And in filling out the card, I would have to list the 13 CDs that I wanted in return. And so the more and more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. At the very least, you're going to give me 13 CDs and I'll just owe you a penny. And then I have to sign up and I can cancel the subscription at any given time. Now, keep in mind, this is like 94, 95. I don't have a job, right? I'm on the campus of South Carolina State University. I'm a student. I'm chilling, playing football, trying to graduate. And so the whole concept, I really can't wrap my head around. But at the end of the day, what I heard was, you're going to give me 13 CDs for 1 cent. Now, regardless of whether or not I extended the subscription, that was solely up to me. But the premise was that I was going to get 13 CDs for a penny. And so I said, after contemplating it, I think I may have asked my mom about it, and she said it was a scam or something like that. But in my mind, it was 13 free CDs. I had a penny. I mean, and here's the funny part. When they sent the information to you, you didn't even have to send a penny back. It would just be, they would bill you for a penny, and then they would subsequently bill you for more CDs as you went along. And I think the subscription was, I want to say it was like anywhere from $5 to $10 a month, which, back then wasn't a lot of money, but it was a lot for a college student, right? A broke college student. And so I was like, you know what? Why not? Okay. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? And so what I did was I signed up, and I distinctly remember it. So I'm assuming it was 1995 because I know one of the CDs that I got was Faith Evans's debut album, Faith. And I love that CD. And I know it came out in 1995. Shout out to Faith. And so I'm not really concerned about owing BMG Music a penny, because I got a penny, right? Keep in mind, I did not, in sending it back to them, I did not have to send a penny back, nor did I have to include my credit card number, because I did not have a credit card in 1995. Okay. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to send this back and see what they do. I'll be honest. I did not think that they were going to send me 13 CDs. And I sent it all. I put the flyer back in the mail and sent it back to wherever BMG is located. I think it was in like Ohio or something like that, right? So fast forward about maybe 2 months later, this box comes in the mail, and I see the box and it's got my name on it. I'm like, well, why would somebody send me something here? And it, because it didn't have BMG music on it, and it had some other name or something like that. And so I go to open the box, and inside the box, there's a smaller box. And inside that, but before you got to the inside of that box, there was a label that said BMG Music. And then it hit me. Oh my God, they really sent me 13 CDs. And so the Faith Evans CD was in there, and 12 others. Forgive me, I can't remember which ones were in there. But I know it was mostly R&B. I didn't want to gamble and try to ask for hip hop CDs, even though I was a huge hip hop fan, because I figured, okay, well, if this works this one time, at least I'll be able to get the R&B CDs that I want, and I can always come back to the hip hop later, or I just buy the hip hop CDs as I had been doing all before. And so I couldn't believe it. I was like dumbfounded. I'm like, wow, they really sent me 13 free CDs. Well, I can't say they were free, 13 CDs for a penny. And so I never send BMG the 1 penny. And just for the record, folks, I'm not self-snitching because the time has passed. Enough time has passed. Trust me. It's been 30 years. And I don't even know if this version of BMG music service is still in business. I doubt very seriously that they are. And if they want a penny from me, bruh, I'll cash app you a penny. But yeah, so they sent me the 13 CDs. So now I'm geeked. I'm super excited because I, in essence, have 13 free CDs. So I'm playing the CDs and everything like that. And then maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks after that, I get another flyer in the mail, and it basically says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it basically says, we hope you got your CDs, you enjoy them. If you'd like to order 13 more CDs, let us know and send it along with a payment of 1 cent. And I'm like, wait a minute. You want me to send another penny? Well, I didn't send the first penny, but you want to send me 13 more CDs, in essence, for free? Sign me up. So at that point, this time I write down the list of 13 hip hop CDs that I don't have that I want. And I think I was, by this time, I can't even remember the CDs, but I do know it was hip hop albums, right? And so I sent it off, and then maybe 3 weeks after that, another box comes, and it's CDs. And it says, hey, we hope you get these CDs. We hope you like them, something to that effect. So in essence, I've got 26 new CDs that I haven't paid for, and nobody's demanding any money for. And keep in mind, if you go to your record store or what have you, at this point in time, CDs were running like $10 a pop. So I've got, 13 CDs at, $10 a pop. That's $130 that I've saved in my pocket. So I'm excited. The CDs are going in the 6-disc changer, my Nissan Sentra. I'm going to kick it on South Carolina State's campus with free CDs. So at this point, I'm telling all my partners, like, hey, man, you got to get this BMG music thing, you got to sign up for. And so this went on. So for whatever reason, they sent me another mailer, and they said, you just have to send a penny back. And they said, well, what CDs do you want? And this time, I think the third time it was 10 CDs. And I filled out, for 10 CDs. And a couple of weeks later, they sent those CDs. So keep in mind, I got a batch of 13. I got a batch of another 13. And then I got a batch of 10 CDs. And so now I have all of these free CDs, and I haven't paid for anything. I am what they call lamping at this point because nobody's checked for this. Nobody's asked me nothing. I didn't have to disclose my phone number. The only thing they have is my name and my address, and that never changed, right? And so I think for me, as well as my peers, this set the precedent for free music. And what I mean by that was the wave that happened after we get out of the 95, 96 era, as we move closer toward 99 into 2000, this is where the internet starts to come into play. By this time, I'm on the internet to some degree, but I'm on AOL. I'm using the internet for group chat, I can't say group chat, for your groups where you're talking and chatting with people like AIM and stuff like that. I'm not using it for anything else. I don't have a lot of information on the internet at this point. Almost no personal information at this point. But then I got introduced to Napster, and then subsequently LimeWire, Kazaa. Those were sites where we would get what we used to call secondary marketing music, meaning that it was file sharing. And I did, a couple episodes on this before, where with file sharing, let's say I have my home desktop computer here, and King Germ from Pod and Saved Our Marriage has his home computer in Tallahassee. I'm on a T1. He's on a T1. He has the new Scarface album that I didn't purchase, but he has it on his T1. I could use Kazaa, log into my Kazaa account, see, and just type in, do a search for the new Scarface album, type that up. And then once I see King Germ's name and I see that he's on a T1 was like the highest internet service that you could have. Internet speed, I should say, computer speed. So once I see that, I then remotely connect to his T1 from my T1, and I could download, because he's made it available, right? I can now download that new Scarface album. By this time, CD burners were in full effect, and I could burn that CD to my hard drive and then have a copy, my own personal copy that I've made of the Scarface CD. And so that was a thing for quite a few years until Napster got busted. And I said all that to say this: the BMG Music Group service was an opportunity for us to get free music. To this day, I don't know why they never sent me a bill. Never. I never got a bill at my college address. Well, they never had my college address. I never got a bill at my college address. I never got a bill at my home address. They literally gave me free CDs for a penny, and I never even gave them a penny. And I don't know what happened to that business model. Personally, I don't think that was a smart business model. But if you remember the BMG days, man, it was something special. I told all of my friends about it, and almost all of my friends used it and got free music. Now, what was interesting was I did have one friend who, like, they got the first batch, the first 13 or the first 10. I think by that, after a pretty period of time, it went from 13 to 10. So I do have a couple of friends who they didn't get 13, but they got 10 CDs. 10 CDs for a dime. Or yeah, it went from, and it also went from like a penny to a dime. So 10 CDs for a dime, but they never asked for any money in return. And subsequently, we got all of this free music. And I think to some degree, it made us lazy, because now you did not have to leave the home to get the music. All before we had to rush. If your favorite artist came out with a new album, you had to rush to the record store to get it. If not, you were going to be out in the cold because you didn't want the album to be out and everybody else had it but you. But it also removed our personal investment, because, again, you had to personally invest. You had to get up, put some clothes on, get in the car, drive to the record store, purchase it, drive back home, and then listen to it. Wherein, if I didn't have to leave my house, that made the music readily available for me, and I could get it and use it at any given time. And it made music more disposable. And so I think that had been really part of the downfall of what we knew as, popular music. We didn't really see it as such as fans at that time, but that's what it became. And subsequently, it all started with the BMG music. In conclusion, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It didn't make a lot of sense to me back then. I don't know why they did it and why they made it free. But I'm glad, and I took full advantage of it. I didn't break any laws. And they never billed me for it. Now, if they send me a bill at this point for $500 for some CDs that they sent me, I'm not going to say on record what I would do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday. Also, don't forget about the flagship station. That is called the 12 Kyle Podcast. You can find the 12 Kyle Podcast wherever you're listening and watching this episode as well. And we drop new episodes there every Thursday as well. Again, that's going to do it for me from my sunny backyard on the deck. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Chill.
Thank you for listening. This concludes the episode. Be sure to subscribe to the Rap Soul podcast. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the podcast on social media. And feel free to continue this discussion on our Reddit page. More importantly, share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. Until next time, 5,000.